Welcome back to the 49 Willys pickup project. In this episode, we're going to make door cards and we're going to make a couple of kick panels for up inside here, so stick around. These are the door cards that were in my original truck, and they look kind of okay, but they're kind of rotted down around the bottom. They're in kind of tough shape down there. So instead of trying to reuse these, I'm going to use these as patterns and make a couple of new ones. So that's the good news. I have a good pattern to work from. Now the bad news is right here in these kick panels. So this truck came with no kick panels in it, and this is the remnant of one kick panel that was in my parts truck, and it's not complete, but I think there's enough here that I can use to start a new template. So I placed that panel in there, and you can see exactly how it's supposed to fit. So this gives me some good information. I can see, for instance, it kind of runs diagonally from the firewall up to the doorpost. And I can also see where I have missing parts. There was just enough of this right in the middle there where I could see where it was supposed to line up with the doorpost. So the plan here is to make parts out of some cardboard and place those in here. Using some cardboard, we'll get some replacement pieces in here. So we're going to start with the one on the doorpost, get that set in place, and I'll tape that in and secure it, and then we can move on from there. Now we'll bring in that last piece and put it in right along that slope of the footwell. We'll tape that in, and this should complete the template and give us a pretty good idea of what we need to build. There is my recreated kick panel. I just put lots of tape on there. Now I'm going to put this down on a piece of hardboard and cut it out. This is hardboard, and if you're not familiar with it, it's the same thing they use to make pegboard out of, except for this just doesn't have the holes. So it's real thin. It's a little thinner than 1/4 inch, maybe between 1/4 and 1/8. And this would be a really good backing for that kick panel. So I just need to cut where I trace. So I'll just grab a jigsaw and cut this out. Nice thing is when I go to do the other side, it's just a mirror image of this. So I'll just cut another one out that matches exactly. See if it fits. There we go. That's perfect. Now, before we mess around, let's try the other side and see if it fits there as well. Just flip it around the other way. Okay, it's a little short here. So, I remade both of these floors. This floor over on this side must be up just a hair from that side. So when I go to make this panel, I'm going to have to trim it a little bit because it just isn't quite fitting in there. I can go this way. Oh, I guess it does. I must have a little hump right here. So if I slide it in that way, I think we've got a pretty good fit here as well. So I just got to put it in the right way. All right, let's cut another one of these. Quite a while ago, I made up these door limiters. And these just keep that door from overextending. And they mount right here. Now, we might have a little clearance problem with our kick panels. I'm just going to put one screw in here to show you how this goes. Okay, that's good. So it sits right in here. Now, this kick panel is going to fit right in here. And I got a couple of choices. I can cover it completely. That looks pretty nice. But the problem is it sticks out a little bit. There's going to be a bulge in the middle, and I don't really like that. So I think what I want to do instead is put this on the outside. Like that. That just means I have to paint these up so they look decent. And then I have to do some clearancing in here to fit those in. But that's how I'm going to put this together. Okay, I think I've got this ready to go. I just lined up my mount here, drilled holes through, and then I had to clearance a little bit for this edge that drops in there. So let's see how we did. Again, close so you can see how we did here. I think it lines up nice. I think this is going to work. All I want to do now with this is just clean this up. I didn't think this was going to be showing, but I think what I'll do is just round off these sharp corners so it looks a little bit better. But I think that's going to work, and it kind of doubles as a mount to hold this kick panel in. So we got those kick panels done. Now we need the door cards. Cutting these is going to be really easy because I can use my table saw. I put my extensions on here, and I can use this one. Let's get this thing up here. There we go. There. I can use my old door card as a pattern. I don't have to even measure anything. We'll just bring the fence right up here. And that matches. Okay, I thought this was 90-degree edges, but I think these slope in, so I may have to relook at how I cut these. I took some measurements. What I discovered is from the top to the bottom edge here is the same all the way across. So my first cut on the table saw was fine, but what I'm seeing is when I go across this way, down at this end, we're at 27 3/4. When we get closer to the top, we're 27 1/2. So there's about a 1/4 inch taper. And so I have a solution for that. I have a track saw. So I basically traced the other card, the original card, right on top of this, marked out my lines, and now I've just lined up my track saw and I can make a perfectly straight cut here. Except for I don't want to cut through my table saw. Okay. There we go. All right, nice clean cut. All right, so I'm ready to cut holes in these door panels, and I need to mark out where they all go. I think what I'm going to do is just use a can of paint. I think most of these, other than that corner up there, I can't really mark that. I'll have to use a marker or something there. You know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'll take a Sharpie and dot all of these around the outside, but these in the middle, I'm just going to shoot a little paint on there. I'm going to put some holes in the door here for, this will be the window crank. This is for the inside door opener button, and then this is for the armrest. So I've grabbed some bits that are as close to the size of these holes as I can without being larger. And I'm going to drill these out. And then when I fit those and see how they work out, if they need to be a little bit bigger, I can just take a little sanding disc and open it up further. But I don't want to go any bigger than this right now. Now, I already know this hole is going to have to be a little bit bigger because this button that goes in there has to fit through that. And I don't really have a hole saw that's in between these two sizes. So I think I'm going to get a sander and open this one up before I even move any further. Okay, I'm just going to use one of these flap discs. We'll see how it does. Okay, I think that's going to work. Okay, I got those door panels lined up, and I'm just looking at hardware now to mount these things. And I started looking at this, and the holes that are in these are factory holes, but these holes are huge. And I was looking at the screws I have on hand, and I've got some number 10. Those are way too small. I think I might have to go up to a 14 or larger just to get a screw that goes in there. So I think what I'm going to do instead of that is I may just put riv nuts in all of these, and then I can use just a plain old threaded screw that's not going to pull through the sheet metal anyway. Let me show you how this works. We begin by drilling out every one of these holes. This is a 9/32 bit. It has to be big enough to fit this riv nut that will go right in there. Now this little tool is what we use to set that. So we screw that in there, we set it in, and then we squeeze back on this. And it's going to compress this little ribbed area right around there and create a threaded insert that then I can go ahead and use just a threaded screw instead of a sheet metal screw. Way less chance of it pulling through, and it kind of solves my problem that I don't have to use huge screws in here. I threw a few screws in there just to see how it all fits up. I think it looks really good. It's going to work out perfect. So the last thing I want to work on, or at least make a decision on, is how I want to finish this off. There's a couple of different ways to go. The first thing I was thinking about that maybe is probably the easiest way to do this is just to paint this. And so I grabbed, let me see, we'll put it like this. I just grabbed some of this cream colored paint. It's the same paint that I've got on the wheels, and it's kind of the accent color for the truck. You'll see, if you haven't already seen it, I'm not sure what order my videos are coming out in, but you'll see what the main color is here, either just before this video or after this video. But anyway, I could just paint it. I just shot some primer and just this cream Rust-Oleum. I'm not crazy about it. It's a little bit too shiny for me. So the next thing I did is I took some spray-on bed liner and shot it on this first just to get some texture. And then it's got the texture probably a little bit rough, almost like a basketball or football might be. And then I shot paint over that. That looks pretty good. I kind of like this. So that's a strong possibility. The other option, which is probably going to be a lot more work, is to wrap it in vinyl. So I've got this, this is vinyl, but it's actually really nice stuff. It almost looks like baseball glove leather. And this is, my daughter is actually reupholstering the seats for the truck in this color. So I'm thinking maybe I could get a little extra and just cover this thing. I don't know if I'm real crazy about the work and getting it done just right, but that's another possibility. All right, there's the interior kick panel in. You'll notice I just painted that bracket the same color as the panel just to make it disappear just a little bit. Let's go take a look at the door now. Okay, here's how I'm attaching these panels. I'm just using some stainless hardware. I've got a finish washer and a screw in there. I think those look pretty decent. We've got a nice fit. Come around this side. They line up real nice. And I think those are going to work just fine. I don't think I need to do anything different as far as putting a different cover on this. I like that color and I like the texture. So the next thing I'll be doing is painting these doors. And so if you come back on the next episode, you're going to see how this color matches up with my final color on the truck. I'd like to thank you for joining me. If you'd like to see how we got to this point, you can scroll down into the comments and there's a link to a playlist for all of the videos on this project going back to the day I first brought it home. If you'd like to see progress going forward, you might want to hit that subscribe button, and hopefully my videos will pop up as I release them. Again, thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you next time.